You're all puppets. Tangled in strings. Strings.
Hello and welcome to Space Dock Jury episode 9. I'm Lee and I'm bringing Fireball XL5.
I'm Andy and I'm bringing the Zero X.
Nice.
And I'm Peter and I'm bringing Thunderbirds 2086. Well, 3 of them anyway.
Because someone didn't attend a staff meeting last week. The whole point of it was ships with strings. It was
Thunderbirds.
Yeah, it's Thunderbirds, but without the strings. How can you get the strings from the Thunderbirds?
Well, okay, so there's the title of the episode. I've got no strings to hold me down.
We need to have the Ultron version.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's James Spader singing it. I've got no strings on me. But anyway.
Yeah, we'll call it Some Strings Attached.
Yes, yeah, no jacket required. No, hold on. Anyway, so who's going to do the top 10 this week?
Oh, I think Peter should do it.
Oh, okay. Let me...
On the spot. Oh my God, I've got to be sober.
Cheap.
I mean, I can do it if you like. If you're
No,
stuck.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Are you
It's
ready?
just for top 10 you have to do. You don't have to do the entire...
No.
Thank heavens, because we've got 29 on the board at the moment. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So there you go. So before we get going, over to you, Pete, and let's tell everyone how it stands right now.
Okay, in at number 10, sadly, we have Spaceball 1.
Yeah, sorry about that.
How the heck did we manage that?
It's the size and sucking power, and it really does suck.
Yeah, okay, that explains that one. At number 9, still sticking around, we have the Agamemnon Omega Destroyer.
Old reliable.
Couple
Yep.
on 5.
Episode 1.
Yep.
Hey.
Yeah.
Episode 0 even. Wow.
Number 8, we have the Sovereign from that Mass Effect theme.
Yeah. Nice. Sovereign. A Reaper.
Space cuttlefish.
Yeah, don't speak too soon.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping with the theme, at number 7, we have the Shadow Ship.
Space Flat Spider.
Yes, he's got a bad case of the crabs.
Yeah.
Back to Mass Effect, at number 6, we have the Normandy 1.
Yep. Nice.
Number 5, we have the rather superior USS Defiance.
Dustbuster! Woo!
At number 4, I believe my highest scoring effort, yes, is the Superstar Destroyer Executor.
Nice.
Largely there, solely down to its awesome theme song.
Oh, yeah. Then, number 3, we have the Battlestar Pegasus.
Largely there to Michelle Falk.
Yes.
We're all there for
Number-
Michelle Falls.
At number 2, we have the Ball Cube.
My highest scoring entry, I think.
Yes, yes.
And top of the charts, we have the humongous Ventral Spirit Gloriana 40k floating cathedral thingy.
Yes. cathedral in space, or as Lee likes to describe it,
Snowplow dildo.
there you go. We've got to speak to Gav, see if he can work that into one of his novels at some point.
It hung there like a snowplow dildo. For the Emperor. Anyway.
That would be Slanesh. I can't help feeling that.
yeah, you've gone a bit Slanishi there.
I don't know what you're talking about. Those are words, but they don't make any sense
You have
to me.
no frame of reference, Donny.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Trust us.
I would
we were
send you
both
some
hilarious.
images, but they won't be. Yeah.
No, I'd
Yeah,
rather...
they're not the sort you want with a non-incognito browser open.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
To put it this way, I think they've been pretty much written out of certainly Warhammer these days. They're not doing any more Slanesh because it was all a bit too kinky.
Slanesh. Right, okay.
Just don't.
No.
Just don't. Don't.
Hold on. Oh, hold
God,
on.
he's doing it.
All the hentai you ever need, matey.
Good lordy.
That's it. We've lost him. To
That's it. That's the end of Space Doc Jury, folks.
He has fallen to the Chaos Gods.
Why? Yeah. Oh, wow. That's the dirge of Slanesh. Oh, yeah, I can see you with the dirge, all right. We should put the bloody dirge away. What the hell is that? Wow. Just wow.
Well, I like to think I'm an educationist, and
Yeah, how to paint a greater demon of Slanesh. Basically, you take a woman, you put horns on her, you give her an extra couple of arms, stick about 7 tits on her, and then put eyes in the tits.
Yeah, sounds
then
about...
stick the paintbrush in your eyes.
Yes.
Then jam it as far up into your nose as you can, and maybe you'll hit your brain pan, which controls your memory. What the hell is this crap? I mean, seriously.
I fear we should probably step away from this before
Yes.
one of our listeners starts looking for this and never listens to us again.
I would not blame them at this point. I genuinely wouldn't. Wow. Wow. Yes. Moving on. Wow.
So, Lee, what are we doing this week?
Well, this week, obviously, wow, we're doing something remarkably innocent by comparison to that. Yes, we're doing Supermarionation. We're doing Jerry Anderson infused.
Well, me and Lee are.
Yes, yeah. Well, the memo, as you say, got
ITC. We've got the ITC connection.
ITC. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Just
it's
we'll
total
get to
crap.
It's
yes. Anywho, welcome back anyway to Space Doc Jury. He says, trying desperately to bring himself back on track.
Scrub it out of your mind.
that
Scrub it out.
Window.
Mind bleach.
I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night screaming with that.
Yeah,
in my head.
that's the
That's the point. Yeah.
Wow, and the weirdest boner. So anyway, welcome to Space Doc Jury, number
AKA
9.
the weirdest boner.
Weirdest boner, that should be the title. If you haven't joined us before, we are a podcast which
Welcome to the madness.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you'll be joining us again if this is your first time, to be honest.
Welcome to the house of fun. Welcome away.
But we do talk about and try and rate spaceships eventually from all walks of the science fiction universe, from comics to films, TV, books, you name it. If
Tabletop games like Warhammer, for example.
Yeah, no, don't, please don't. Don't make me recall that already. I've just cleared my mind. That's just wrong. I've lost my bloody forms and everything. It's all gone wrong.
Oh dear. The wheels have come off.
Oh,
She's going down, Captain.
it's all gone horribly, horribly wrong.
It's the Pancake XL4 all over again.
Yes, it is. Right, okay. Fine. So we're here to talk about spaceships. We're going to talk about spaceships. We're going to do it like Top Trumps. We have a call wall. You've heard the top 10. Let's just fucking
There are rules.
There are
We
rules.
make them up as we go along.
We try and stick to them.
Yeah, we have forms. I mean, we have several Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah, and we have several Google Docs, all of which are automated now, which is kind of amazing that they're still automated. But anyway, there you go. So, this is going to be a great editing job. Right, so, moving on. Yay. So, I think...
Welcome back, Andy.
Welcome back, Andy.
Yeah.
Welcome to the suck. So, let's get going. We are going to do ITC Jerry Anderson themed spaceships this week, and I am going to lead with the Fireball XL5. So, the Fireball XL5. Well, firstly, Fireball XL5 is set between 2062 and 2063, and features the missions of the spaceship Fireball XL5, which is a class of ship. There is the Fireball XL class of ship. The ship is commanded by Colonel Steve Zodiac of the World Space Patrol. Starring Steve Zodiac, yeah. And the crew included Dr. Venus, who is a doctor of space medicine. I think you can see where this is going.
Spent most of the time doing the cooking, apparently.
Yes, exactly. Well, this was made in the 60s.
And it shows.
Yes, 1962 to be precise. There's a middle-aged navigator and engineer called Professor Matthew Matic. As in,
yeah, he's definitely on somebody's list somewhere.
Yeah, well, he's Mathematic. Oh, he's Mathematic. Anyway, and then there's Robot, a transparent anthropomorphic robot, who would most commonly proclaim "On our way home."
In the voice of a '60s Cyberman.
Yes. Yeah. On our way home. Oh. Anyway.
We will.
Yeah. We will. Somebody close the doors on this bloody submarine.
You've got a bit of Stingray at this point.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, Robert was the only character in an Anderson series that was actually voiced by Jerry Anderson himself.
Oh, gosh. Really?
Yeah, just so
he
you
lent
know.
his voice to that piece of crap.
Yes, he did.
He could choose any character he liked. He chose the robot with a bucket for a head.
That does explain why it was the last Jerry Anderson
performance.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not really working out. Yeah, so anyway, the World Space Patrol was based in Space City, like I say, and it was based in an unnamed island of the South Pacific, which may or may not have ended up being Tracy Island in a long way in the future. It was headed by Commander Zero and Lieutenant 90. Anyway, and inside there was the XL spaceships. The Fireball XL5 patrolled Sector 25 of charted interstellar space, though there only appeared to be 3 sectors marked on the space charts seen in the Space City room. And their patrol missions were 3-month durations. And anyway, let's get on to the spaceship itself. The patrol spaceship XL5 takes off using a mile-long launch ray culminating in a 45-degree incline, or sky ramp, which actually was taken from a well-known Soviet design for launching rockets, and also a design that was also used for, a tested design that was used for launching V2 rockets.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope to shit they weren't as wobbly as the one in Fireball XL5, because that really did not look up to safety specs.
Well, no. In fairness, V2 rockets did actually manage to make it as far as England, so they, it does work. Anyway, the World Space Patrol apparently operates a fleet of at least 30 Fireball XL ships, and Fireball XL5 is the most famous. The ship itself is made up of 2 detachable sections, a winged nose cone known as Fireball Junior, which contains the cockpit and separates from the main body, so it can land. The rest of the ship contains navigation and a lab and a large lounge and workshops and separate crew quarters, together with the fuel and the main rocket motors used for interstellar travel.
The lounge is amazing. That's straight from the 60s. It's got a big sofa.
It's all but got
chilling.
It's only the essentials they needed to survive in space.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like a lava lamp, disco
flock
ball.
Wallpaper.
Exactly. It looked like an Indian takeaway from the 1970s. Anyway, I'm really glad it was in black and white, to be honest. I hate to think what colour that whole place was.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so the ship itself, the main ship, would generally remain stationed in orbit after arriving at an alien planet, and Fireball Junior would go down. Where Fireball XL5 returns to Earth on Space City, the whole ship lands horizontally without separating, and using underside-mounted retro rockets. The ship was basically based around a lot of pulp spaceships from the likes of E.E. Doc Smith, and it was not intended to be realistic, even by Anderson's own words. XL5 was portrayed to be travelling around the galaxy at sublight speeds until the episode Faster Than Light. And then in the series, it served a few limitations of known science. Viewers were informed that the ship had rocket motors that were powered by neutronic reactors, and the XL5 could safely travel speeds of up to space velocity 7, enabling it to reach outlying star systems and other galaxies within a few months. Furthermore, the crew never wore spacesuits. Instead, they took oxygen pills to survive the vacuum of space, where they manoeuvred in zero gravity with the aid of thruster packs. The Neutrini radio enabled a virtually instantaneous communication with all sectors of charted space. And and the ship was fitted with gravity activators that gave artificial gravity fields within. The ship itself was designed by Reg Hill and Derek Meddings, and Derek Meddings would later go on to design the Thunderbirds and various other Anderson spaceships, but most notably Thunderbird 2. And the ship itself does have a number of armaments, apparently, of which the only ones I could find were missiles, space missiles.
It does have some sort of disintegrator beam in the comics.
Yes.
I couldn't tell you what it does, though.
No.
It just fires a beam.
Just fires a beam and shoots
up.
thing. Yeah. Apparently it has 4 powerful interceptor missiles, which are deployed from port and starboard hatches positioned on the aft of the nose module. And, those missiles, that's it, as far as I can tell. And it has some kind of shielding, though it's never really made explicit. It can take a punch, but that's about the size of it. So should we get on with rating this?
Yes, let us. I've kind of forgotten how we do that bit, so I'll make it up as I go along.
Okay, well, thanks for that.
It has to be said, if we were scoring on music, the end credits alone would ensure this scores very highly because it's very groovy.
Yeah, the sound of Cliff Richard before he tried to make a run for it to the Bahamas. Oh, sorry. Anyway,
allegedly.
To
the Bahamas.
And it won't be the last we hear of Cliff Richard this episode, either.
No, exactly.
I certainly won't be bringing it up again.
So let's start off with the size. The ship itself is 300 feet long. Which, hold on, I have to convert that into bloody
metric.
Yeah, hold on. 300 feet into meters.
With the days.
Yeah, to meters. 2 meters is, oh, God almighty, bloody Google. Just do the bloody job. Feet. You type in 300 F to M, and it goes, 300 feet to meters? Yes. So it was 91.4 metres long, which I think, by our measurements, gives us a size of 1.
Yep. I think that's a 1, yes.
Yes, a 1. Then we move on to speed. So we got 1 for that size. And for speed, sublight. Now, it does go to the speed of light. As far as it goes, I mean, it crosses between galaxies in weeks.
I do actually have from the comics it's Velot 7, isn't it?
Yeah.
According to the comics, that's 4 times the speed of light.
Yeah, but that's FTL. I'm talking about just like when it's traveling around.
Sublights, yes. Oh, if it's capable of FTL, it can get across in a matter of. It's light speed, isn't it? Basically,
yeah, it's 5.
It's 5.
So it's 5.
Yeah. We're warming up. Can you tell we've recorded so many in advance that we haven't done this for a while? Just pull back.
It's all coming back.
It's all coming back. Yeah. So anyway, so it can go 4 times the speed of light, which to me is FTL 1, because it's not warp speed, because warp speed's like exponentially, massively over the top of the speed of light. So really 1, possibly 2 on the FTL.
Well, we're going with unknown, aren't we? I think.
Yeah, so I think 1.
Yeah, I think 1.
Okay.
Like I said, I think warp 9 is something like It's hundreds of times the speed of light, isn't
several
it?
thousand times the speed of light. Yeah.
So we're at 1.
Yeah. So then we move on to maneuverability. Now, this is a weird one because Fireball Junior was quite maneuverable. It was like a little fighter jet, and that was the front of the ship. When it's attached to Fireball XL5, it would occasionally do some pretty crazy maneuvers, but for the most part, it would just kind of like
strings.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, essentially just hang on strings and just kind of chug along like a sort of 1950s B movie Flash Gordon ship. So, as far as it goes, it's not a flying brick, but it's not a Trek capital ship either. So I would put it for a 2.
Yeah,
that's what I would be scoring.
I'd say a 2. Yes.
Cool. Right. Okay. So up to firepower. Now, firepower is frankly laughable. It's got 4 missiles, as far as I can tell, which puts it somewhere down in the sort of Y-wing bombers kind of region of like 4 basic missiles and possibly a laser beam.
So, I think 3-ish.
So I think a 3 for the firepower is good. Defenses. Well, what can we say about defenses? It's got no active defense whatsoever. I mean, it's got some kind of shielding, but you never really see it in action. You get told it's there, but you never really see it. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's possibly got a 2 for angled shields.
Well, we swap that up, remember? So now it's just you get a point for each thing it has.
For each one. In which case, I'd give it a point for angled shields, but that's about the size of it.
Well, I would say your angled shields are probably going to come more under your passive, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, yes.
Because there's no evidence that they have to manually move a shield, because we don't even really know if it has the shields. It's just...
No. Okay, in which case, so for active, it's got 0. And in which case, we move on to passive, in which case it's got shit shields, as far as I can tell, because it's got shields. So as far as I'm aware, it can take a punch. I see it get into a fight, and I don't think it ever got destroyed or anything pierced the hull.
I think 3 would be fair enough.
So I mean 3.
It certainly in the comics and stuff like that, it bloody survives encounters of alien spaceships fairly regularly.
So that's that. As for special, well, I mean, apart from the fact that it can detach into 2 ships effectively and fight as 2 ships.
Yeah,
does that count as a special? Is that
can the rear fight, or is that just?
Well, the missiles are in the rear.
Okay, then yeah.
And if you count the comics, and that laser beam comes out the nose cone. So
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'd say you can have 1 there.
Yeah, so it's a bit like that ship from that old arcade game, Mooncrester, where you used to be able to split the ships up into two and fly around and. Okay, never mind. It was well before your time. You were.
You could have just sent like the Enterprise D.
Yeah. Fucking. Anyway, right. Sorry. I think too many What the Treks have really turned me off of Trek, to be honest. I have to
You're going to have fun next week, aren't you?
Next week's going to be great fun. Anyway, so then we move on to crew size. Well, crew, there's only 4 of them, to be honest. They are all essential, but there are only 4 of them. So that's 1 for crew size. Mm-hmm. Their competence. Now we're up for some debate. I mean, Steve Zodiac is full on proper chiseled jaw, square jawed hero. He's not a guy who's gonna fuck things up. And Dr. Venus and Mathematic are all experts in their field. So the robot and that stupid blorpy monster thing that ended up flying it for a while, I would go for a 4 for their competence. I mean, they're quite good, but the robot's pretty shit, and the alien that turns up in later episodes is awful.
In the episode I saw, Steve Zodiac flew his hover bike thing through flames and then panicked because it kind of melted it. That didn't seem especially competent to me. And then he was captured, and then he had to be saved by the robot on the old bloke on the ship. It didn't inspire confidence, shall we say.
I suddenly feel like John Cleese in Life of Brian going, apart from that,
So I think I might be knocking a point off and go for 3.
Apart from the lack of safety, the need to get captured, the lack of planning, and the fact that he did actually melt his own rocket bike. Apart from that, I think he's all right. Okay, well, I mean, I'll go for 3 then, if you're willing to let me have the 3.
Yeah, I think 3 is about.
Yeah, I think 3. They look like a 3. If you know what I'm saying. You look at them and you go, yeah, it's about a 3.
Yeah. Okay, so now we get into the interesting bit, the realization.
Wobbly, wobbly, wobbly.
Wobbly, wobbly, wobbly. I mean, what did we give the blooming X-Bomber? Because I think it's exactly on par with that. Because it's a nice enough model, but fuck me, they couldn't keep those strings straight, no matter how tight they pulled it.
We gave the X-Bomber 2 points.
2 points, in which case I shall be asking for 2 points.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's more than fair.
I think so. As for the interior, I thought the interior, I mean, as crazy and 60s as it clearly is. Yeah. And
the cocktail bar in the lounge.
The cocktail bar.
To be fair, the Enterprise had one.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't look quite so 60s, to be fair, though.
No, it looked very 80s. It looked like all bar one, circa 1985.
It looked like Pages, but maybe that was the other way around.
Yeah, Pages. But as far as the interior is concerned, I think it's a much better, much nicer realised interior than even some of the Thunderbird sets. I thought it was kind of nicely laid out. You could tell where everything is in relation to everything else.
Well, certainly you can with the bridge, because there don't appear to be any windows in the bloody windscreen.
Well, yeah, that's because otherwise they'd be reflecting
They literally
everything.
sit in the model. It's bizarre.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's just a limitation of the medium they were working in. I mean, I don't know. I think you'd be looking for a 3. I mean, I wouldn't go as high as a 5, but as far as the model work is concerned, certainly better than the X-Bomber, which was basically grey slabs on terrible grey cardboard.
I'm happy to give you the 3 because I
gave the X-Bomber 2, so I suppose we ought to give this 3. Really,
yeah. Yay, victory!
It's all there.
Yeah,
yeah. You might not particularly like the style.
No.
Plus, we gave Thunderbird 3 or 4, and I think this is somewhat inferior to that. So yeah, I'd say 3.
There you go. See, scoring works.
The system works.
The system works. God damn it. Right. Okay. Science. Now, at first, I think I even said this in a text to you guys the other day, that the science is just away with the fairies.
Oxygen pills.
Oxygen pills, yeah. Are they also pressurized pills and anti-radiation shielding pills? Yeah. Because otherwise...
At one point, the what's her face, the female character says, "Oh, it's cold here." It's like, no fucking surprise, you've got no spacesuit on, you idiot.
Yes. It's only minus 250 degrees outside.
Well, that's a bit chilly, isn't it?
It's a bit nippy.
I have to wear my space coat with my space slippers.
Yeah, I have to wear my space thermals. But, that said... We're not judging the science of the show. We're judging the science of the ship. And as far as that goes, the rocket sled thing alone at least elevates it above way with the fairies.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got that. You've got rocket propellant launching. You've got the idea that you would have a little module ship that would fly down to the planet. I would ask... I mean, it's not fucking sunshine or anything. I mean, I would ask for a 2.
Oh, I'd be happy to give you a 2 for it.
I think you're selling yourself a little short, to be honest.
Possibly, yes.
I'd have gone for a 3, actually.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, same here, I think.
Based on what? Because I mean, based
on the fact it doesn't try and do anything too crazy, basically.
Yeah.
Well, from the one episode I've seen, admittedly, but I mean, all the crazy stuff happens with the puppets.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the ship itself. Because again, if you start looking, because basically before this, I acquired a large bulk of TV Century 21 comics, which I've been going through. In that, you get a lot of crazy fighting space aliens. At one point, spacecrafts are involved.
Oh, dear.
Always spacecraft.
Go see a doctor.
Yeah.
But the ship itself seems fairly safe. It has to worry about re-entry. It does a vertical landing when it returns, has to be mounted back onto the rail. They acknowledge that it can only launch from the rail as well. It can't just... The body can't land on any planet and just go on its way. And And again, I think the science of the ship is it's really between the 2 and a 3.
Yes.
But if you wanted a 3, I'm happy to give you that. I mean, there's nothing on the ship itself that's down a wave of fairies. It doesn't go all out science like you said, like with The Martian or Sunshine, trying to explain everything. But what it explains, it gets kind of right. I mean, even again, as strange as it seems, going out without a spacesuit, you can do that for a very brief period of time. Not for as long as they do.
And not with an oxygen pill.
Not with an oxygen pill. But you're not going to instantly go pop in, say, Event Horizon. So, you're better off with that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll take a 3 if you're willing to offer it.
It's never been so hard to give someone a fucking point.
No,
it's fine. It's just, I just honestly...
Take the point.
Okay,
I'll take
the fucking point. I'll take the point. Okay, right, fine. Now on to the fun stuff. Cool factor.
Yes.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, I've got 4 points here to use. Mm-hmm. I think it's got a 60s pulp science fiction cool about it. It's got that sort of Tintin on the Moon kind of vibe. It's got the Thunderbirds, early Thunderbirds.
You and your bloody red rockets, mate.
Says the man who likes a flying brick.
Yeah. I like my bricks.
Yeah,
I was thinking very Dan Dare, actually.
Dan Dare is another one. Yeah,
I love the little details, like when you look through the windows, you can see the rivets, and it's kind of like those B-29 bombers from World War II, the big glass canopy.
Yeah, it's very.
I love Fireball XO5. It's cool. Yeah.
I think it's cool as well. So, I mean, I wasn't going to ask for a 4 because I don't think it's the coolest ship I've ever represented. But I was really happy to go for a 3.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So I'm going for 3. What about you guys? You got 3 points each.
Yeah, I'm happy to give her a 2.
Cool. So that's 5.
I'm happy to give a 3. I mean, as I said before, I don't think we have to ration what we think is cool or not. And I think Fireball XL5 is a very cool ship. I mean, and I'm talking strictly about the ship, not the crew.
No.
Yeah.
Not the show, not the lounge, the ship on its own. And I think the ship itself is very cool. So I'll give it 3 quite happily.
Okay. Well, there you go. So, there you go. The Fireball XL5 coming good at the end, it turns out. And there she sits with a score of 36.
Yep.
36, which unfortunately isn't enough to stick it on our top 10, but it's certainly in there at around... Hold on, where are we?
Well, you've beaten the Draconia. That's the important thing.
You've beaten Thunderbird 3.
Well, that's not difficult either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, of course, Button Moon.
And the Hermes. And
but not the X-Bomber.
And the Eagle. No, not the X-Bomber, ironically. Well, it's beaten the Eagle Transporter or Discovery 1 and Button Moon and the Endurance. The Endurance from fucking Interstellar.
The Endurance is the special ship.
It's a very special ship. Anyway, So there you go. Well, I thought that did a lot better than I thought it would. So, interesting. Well, that's a good start, I guess. Warming up to our
warming up to our big finish with 2086.
Yes, to 2086. So, right. Well, let's not dally about then. I guess it's over to you, Andy.
So yes, 0X. And let's see if we can get through this without it crashing on us. The 0X. It features in Thunderbirds Are Go, the movie, and Captain Scarlet and the TV 21st Century comics. It's the first manned craft to land on Mars. The metallic blue 0X comprises of a number of detachable sections. You have a main body with chemical engines. You have lifting bodies, which help it in and out of Earth's atmospheres, and a Martian exploration vehicle up at the front, which serves as the moon rover, lander, or just general getting about thing. Basically, the 0X was designed by Derek Meddings. Also did, I think, all of the other Thunderbird vehicles.
Yes.
Yes. So the excellent prestige here. Largely designed as, and what's the exact quote here? Launch sequence porn. This has the single most impractical launch sequence ever, and coming from Thunderbirds, that is saying something.
It takes forever.
It takes like 7 minutes for this thing just to come together. Why? Because fucking 12-year-old boys think that shit is awesome. That's So anyway, Zero X. The first Zero X, unfortunately, was launched to go to explore Mars. Unfortunately, crashed after it was, quote, sabotaged, end quote, by the hood. He accidentally stood on something.
He got his foot caught.
He got his boot caught, and it crashed. I mean, anyway, the second Zero X made it all the way to Mars. It discovered the rock snakes. Blows one of them up, and then returns, and then it crashes due to its own convoluted landing sequence.
Yep.
You know those twirly dog turds?
Yes,
that's your rock snakes.
Yes, they are the rock snakes.
Yeah.
The third returns to Mars under command of Spectrum, flown by Captain Black, amongst others. It doesn't find the rock snakes this time, but it does find the city of the Mysterons, which it destroys. And then after turning Captain Black into a zombie, it returns to Earth, where it burnt down, fell over, then sank into the swamp.
Then was recycled for Philos.
Then we finally get to the fourth one, and this one crashed periodically throughout the course of the comic series, but this one explored much of the rest of the solar system and goes on into interstellar space, visiting a planet of lizard gods and the aforementioned space crabs.
As you do.
As you do.
I am the lizard queen.
Yes, pretty much. The concept of a reusable first-stage lifting body, boosting smaller aircraft to high altitudes, was something very popular in the 60s, because this was the time when they were still launching the Saturn V rockets in the same way as the Thunderbird 3. So one of the views was you take off and land in the same way of the plane, but in the end the shuttle still launched like a rocket but landed like a plane, and it also didn't need its wings to fly up and meet it, as you'll note.
I was gonna say, yeah, that was a bit. I understood the extra rockets to get it out of the Earth's atmosphere, but why did they need to meet it coming back again?
Reasons.
Yeah, shut up. That's why.
By the way, I read a brilliant quote.
Yeah.
Where on IO9, where basically they said, you know, that at 10 minutes to launch, that ship that was basically the alpha and omega of launch sequences, and threatens to make the 2001 docking sequence look like a non-stop ride thriller minute action sequence.
Well, you've literally stolen a paragraph ahead of me there, so say that.
Have I? Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
It's quite all right.
I'm looking at IO9.
It's a fair point. Well made. What was I? I was just going to comment that in recent years, Virgin Galactic have kind of come back to the concept of the lifting bodies and rockets with their Virgin Galactic ships, where you have a flying wing which takes the rocket up into space, and it then goes off and does its thing. But it doesn't have to meet it again on the way down. Although that did kind of crash last year, so your mileage might vary with that. Yes, the crew, as we see in Thunderbirds Argo, it's piloted by Captain Paul Travers, then Space Captain Greg Martin, Space Navigator Brad Newman, who was voiced by Bob Monkhouse, and then Dr. Grant and Dr. Pierce, who for some reason are brought back for every other mission apart from the Captain Scarlet ones. So, you know, I got to say, I think if you crash a ship twice or more, you're probably not going to be flying it anymore, but they let them carry on. The cockpit was based off of Concorde, which was a prototype aircraft at the time. So it was meant to look very kind of high-tech and futuristic-y. But yes, and as Lee has mentioned, it is the alpha and the omega of launch sequences. It was, if you will, the perfect realization of the Thunderbird launch sequence. It was none of this palm trees falling apart and, you know, swimming pools coming back. No. It all has to come together like Voltron.
Very slowly.
Very, very slowly.
Very slowly.
Very.
And the weirdest bit is the front bit, the cockpit bit, being lined up and then lifted up in order to connect.
So just to touch on the launch sequence, a few things which don't make any sense. Firstly,
all of it.
All of it. But so, let me touch on a few bits. When it comes out of its initial hangar, it has its own set of undercarriage. But when the lifting bodies come, the rear ones are then locked away because they're blocked by the lifting body. It's like, why bother having them there at all when their only purpose is to go from the hangar to that point on the tarmac where the lifting body meets it? Why does the crew section sit on the front of a building and then drive out to it.
Yes.
It makes no sense whatsoever. But it's still it's pretty damn cool. But it's like it makes zero sense.
And the first bit, it's in a giant hangar. So you think the logical thing is to bring it out of the hangar.
Yeah.
No. They move the entire hangar backwards.
And then it moves. They bring the hangar backwards and then it moves.
Then they move it forwards. It's like, what the...
Yeah.
Yes. Why do you do these things? But well, there you go.
You know why? It's because they doubled down on all the Thunderbird launch sequences. They went, oh yeah, hold on, like Thunderbird 1, that's quite a good launch sequence. Thunderbird
I've got
2,
another quote.
Go on.
I've got another quote for you. It's by a guy called Stephen Leriviere from his book Filmed in Supermarionation: A History of the Future, and he says. The Zero X spacecraft, as designed by Derek Meddings, cynics would suggest that the various detachable segments, the wings, the nose cone, etc., has less to do with storyline and more to do with potential toy marketing.
Yeah.
And what's with the silver thing that goes on the nose cone as well?
The nose cone. Oh, well, it's supposedly to help it leave the atmosphere to make it slightly more aerodynamic. Although I think that it's largely pissing in the wind at that point. Someone called Glenn Erickson in his review of the film says it unwieldy and suggesting it is aesthetically inferior to Skyship One, which was that airship thing for Thunderbird 6.
Yeah.
Just a couple more points very briefly to touch upon. In the comics, as I mentioned, it does make it back from Mars, goes on to explore Saturn and interstellar space. Strangely enough, although in the TV shows we established Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet through the Zero X, the comics link it back to Fireball XL5.
No.
It's described as the replacement for the XL series of spacecraft. And whereas XL5 is capable of Velot 7, I think it was, the Zero X is capable of Velot 12. Which does suggest that it should get to Mars a lot quicker than the 60-odd days it does in Thunderbirds I Go, but there you go.
Well, yeah.
It's also armed with, and again, why a science vessel needs this, one hell of a fucking machine gun, which launches missiles apparently, and is capable of destroying the Mysteron city, which does largely seem to be made of paper and glass, but there you go.
It is worth mentioning that in the Century 21 comics, it was once grabbed by a sort of several mile high space monkey.
Yes, there was that. There was grabbed by a space crab at one point.
Yeah.
At one point, it flew through a planet, literally through a planet, got covered in what appeared to be space honey.
That's not honey.
Well, yes, entirely possible. So, yes, for what it's worth, that is Zero X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Funny enough, you haven't mentioned Cliff Richard Jr. yet. I've been waiting for it.
Why would I mention Cliff? He has nothing to do with Zero X.
He appears in the Fantastic Thunderbirds Are Go.
But at no point does he have anything to do with Zero X.
Fucking Cliff Richard Jr.
No one had to know about that until you brought it up. So. That's on you.
I mean, seriously, Cliff Richard and the Shadows as puppets. Why did I need to see that?
Well,
to be honest, you just had to watch the first 12 minutes. That's all you need to know about Zero X.
I watched the whole thing.
It takes a long time to come together. It takes off and it crashes. That's pretty much it.
In fact, I'm looking at a load of Century 21 comic stills now, and every second scene I've seen it either exploding or smashing into a floor.
It's very durable. They managed to rebuild it every time.
Yeah, there's actually one where they've actually got it's buried in
a beach.
Yeah, it's buried in a beach, and it's being sort of fixed up by cranes and scaffolding.
What they hope to do with it there? What is it going to take off from the beach and come back? Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Well, because unless they move the beach backwards, or something like that. I mean, Anyway, carry on. Go on. I think we're up to the scoring of this mofo. I think we are.
Okay, so size, as ever, the one which we can usually not argue about.
Nope.
It has a length of 1,190 feet and a width of 780.
And that is in metric?
I don't know.
So 1,130 feet.
1,190.
90 feet in meters. And that is square feet in meters. What? Okay, that doesn't make sense.
Carry the 6.
Not Jesus Christ! Just fuck me, Google. Stop trying to correct me. Just there you go. There you go. It's 362 meters.
There we go. So what is that? That's a 3, is it?
Yes, because it's in 100. No, actually, it's a 4 because it's 362.
Oh yes,
it round up, so it's a 4.
We have a 4 there, Hagoza. Well, for speed, capable of FTL. So for sublight, we're looking at a 5.
Yep.
FTL, it's a 1.
Because we don't know.
It's slightly faster than XL5, but it's still slower than Star Trek. It would appear that in the Jerry Anderson universe, there's a lot of planets like just outside the solar system.
Yeah. Just slightly beyond the. Yeah, it's a whole galaxy just beyond Pluto.
Yes, featuring space crabs.
Yep.
Maneuverability, it's a flying brick.
Definitely.
It even crashes like a flying brick.
It gets recovered like a flying brick.
It does,
It's flown by a couple of bricks as well. I mean, I'm sorry, that's a
typo. I'll tell you what. I was reading the second crash in the Thunderbirds Are Go movie when it crashes into the city. Why does it crash into the city as well? I mean, okay, it's lost its lifting body. You've still got one wing. Turn. It's not difficult here, guys. Okay, turn. Anyway, we'll
get to competence
in shortly. That took 2 days to film, that crash sequence.
Oh God.
So
Yep.
Time well spent.
Couple of firecrackers would have sorted it out.
Right now, here's one for it: the firepower. Where are we going to stick this on firepower front? Because it appears to only be armed with a fucking machine gun.
Yeah.
But it blows up the rock snakes and it destroys the Mistron city in 3 shots.
I would put that in the same sort of category as the Phoenix, the fiery Phoenix from.
And what did we stick Phoenix down as?
We stuck that down as a 9 with city leveling missiles, didn't we?
That is one motherfucking powerful machine gun. Why is that special? I want to know. I want to know. I don't recall Neil Armstrong landing on the moon, pulling out his AK and just kind of going to town with it.
Yeah. Actually, the Phoenix could one shot a city.
Well, maybe a bit below it because it took 3 shots.
Yeah, so maybe put it at about a 7 or an 8.
I'd probably go to a 7 just because it looks like a machine gun.
That machine gun has the firepower of the Defiant.
It pretty much does, yes.
What?
I'll allow it.
Don't worry, we'll give it a kicking in a minute. Active defense.
Just to rewind, we're giving it 7.
Yes.
Really?
Well, I mean,
all I can go with what I see on the screen. I'm not even going into some of the weird shit I see in the comics here.
Well, in fairness, if you're basing it off that email that we all sent round, even the Defiant doesn't fit to that because we gave it an 8 in firepower in the end.
Did we? No, we
gave it 7.
No, we gave it 8 because I'm looking at the scores right now. Oh, the wheels have come off.
So, I don't know, let's say 4. Okay. I think it's going to be more powerful than the Fireball XL5.
No, definitely.
But we've got the Enterprise D as a 6.
The D? We haven't done the Enterprise D.
No, I'm saying on our guide thingy.
Oh, right, on our guide thingy, yeah. Okay, well, we'll have to put it as a sort of 5 then, I guess.
Well, put it there. But I was going to say, I think it's safe to say that scores will be revised again sometime soon.
God almighty, here we go.
we'll call that episode 11 Pubcast 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, when we revise everything and make the entire last 6 months worth of cars completely null and void.
Can we at least get to 100 ships before we have to do that?
Yes. Please.
Anyway, right. Defense, active, fuck all. Passive, fuck all. Oh, it's got armor. It's got some level of armor.
Well, it does stay intact every time it crashes.
That's my point. So I'm thinking heavy armor?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah. Mm. It has no mention of shields in the same way that XL5 has. Special, it does do the separation thing the same as Fireball XL5 does. So
yeah.
I think I'll have to give it 1 there.
But does that act as a part of its defense, or is that just the nose fell off?
No, the MEV section goes down to the planet in the same way Fireball Junior does. But in comics, it is meant to be a replacement for the XL series. So that, to me, says it's meant to do that same job. It does fly around independently as well in a couple of the comics.
Okay.
Doing things. So I think it's 1.
Fair enough.
The crew, it has a crew of 5.
So that's where are we? That's 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going on to competence.
Oh, it's a 1 at best.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say they can't be gainfully employed repeatedly and yet somehow be so shit. I don't quite understand it.
This is largely down to the just plot and everyone else around it. I mean, Paul Travers is at least portrayed as a competent pilot, but at the same time, he doesn't turn the wheel on his ship to avoid the city. Where there's no reason why you can't do that. You have 1 wing still.
Yes, you have 1 job, Phil.
Yes, one job. So for that reason alone,
1.
Yeah, definitely.
You're getting a 1.
Plus, it was Bob Monkhouse's poor radio control skills crashed.
I had not realised it was Bob Monkhouse.
Yes, there you go.
Explains so much.
It really, really does. So what are we up to now? Realisation. Now, for all its faults, it is a beautiful model. It's got to be said. It was a 7-foot-long miniature, I think. That he built. And as with all of Derek Medding's stuff from Thunderbirds and all of that sort of stuff, it was top-notch work. It was actually recently restored as well from, I don't think it was Prop Store London, but one of those prop agencies. And it still looks gorgeous. I mean, I think I'd be asking a 3 or a 4 for exterior realisation. It's a really good model.
It's very square.
It does.
Particularly once it loses the front bit.
Once it loses the wings, it does look like
And the wings are in the wrong place as well. You've got one set of wings underneath and the other set of the wings at the back at the top. It just looks bloody odd.
We haven't gotten to the science of it, and I assure you, gentlemen, it will be getting a proper kicking at that moment. But I'm judging it basically on its looks and
but that affects
the ships that have gone into it, and that's why I'm not asking for a 5. I'm asking for a 3 or a 4.
You could ask for a 5 all you like. You won't get it.
I wasn't asking for a 5, and that's my joke. Patent pending.
No, that's the what's it? Wacky Races patent pending.
Yes.
Yeah. We got Mathematic.
Professor patent pending.
Yeah, we got Professor Mathematic on the X-Wheel 5.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as model competence is concerned, I guess it.
Look, I'm not trying to say it's as good as Thunderbird 3 because
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that I have the same problem with it that Pete does. Once those wings come off,
it's a giant blue slong.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like someone took a tube of a foot long tube of Jaffa cake, spray painted it dark blue, metallic blue, and then stuck a nose cone on the end.
I think that's a little harsh. A little harsh.
It's pretty ugly, to be honest.
It's an ugly ship.
Mr. Organ. Oh, sorry, Reverend Organ. Remember what you're bringing to this table. Remember your place, sir.
Yeah, just
yes. In fact, I think you probably should be quiet. The grown-ups who remember to bring the strings are talking here.
I don't know. I mean, for exterior realisation, I think it's a nice model, competently built. It's Derek Medding, so that goes without saying. But when it's flying, it looks fucking ugly. It really does. I mean, what are you asking for? A 3?
3 or a 4?
Well, I'd be happy with a 3 than the 4.
I'll take the 3 then. Quite happy with the 3.
Begrudgingly give you the 3, yeah.
Now for the interior. How is that cockpit?
We see all of 2 rooms.
Yeah.
All of 2 rooms. I mean, whatever. Sorry, I tell a lie. You see 3 rooms. You see the left side of a cockpit, the right side of a cockpit, and the little escape bit. And you do see
which they make a lot of use of.
They do make a lot of use of when it works. And
yes,
we do see the very fabulous interior of one of the wings. I'm assuming, which apparently you can step on a hydraulic cable and lose your boot. Yeah, no. I mean, as far as the interior goes, you're down at a 1, maybe a 2 if you wanted to acknowledge the model work, but I don't particularly give a shit about it. So I think we're down in the bottom end of it.
I think you do have to acknowledge the craft work involved.
Because I mean, it's the cockpit for what it's worth, especially when you have the forward-looking sections. And you see it's very reminiscent of the Concorde, which I think is kind of cool, with the big throttle hat assemblies and everything there.
Yeah, and it has that sort of Thunderbird 1 and Thunderbird 2 vibe to it as well, which
you've got that kind of turn metal rear door, which is very, I mean, evidently they just spent the entire 60 days sitting in those seats because we never see anything else on the bloody thing.
No, exactly.
There's no lounge on 0X.
Yeah, I was going to say a ship with which is 300 meters long and yet somehow only has 3 rooms. Yeah. I mean, what were you asking for again?
1 or 2.
See, I think you'd be doing yourself down for going for that. I'd happily give you a 3 because I just think it's nicely done. The stuff
I'd say if we do that, we're kind of on parity with what XL5 got. And XL5, we see a lot more of it, but it wasn't as well done as like in terms of the model work.
No, exactly.
So I think, if we say a 3, then we're kind of balancing it out against that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fair.
For the science, I'm probably going to ask for 2. It's because, and that's only because we know. Well, this is a weird one. Okay, it's very impractical. And trying to, it's one of those ones where the more you stuff up the pipes, the easier it is to clog the drain, sort of thing. It's the more things you have moving and changing, the more things are going to go wrong. But they kind of acknowledge that in that it keeps crashing. So I'm torn between this sense of, I mean, look, and to be fair, from the science of it, it's right. You need the lifting bodies to get the rocket up. It means you don't have to carry as much fuel in the schlong part for your mission to Mars. That makes sense. It makes sense you have a detachable nose cone. Rockets today still have those for helping it reach the atmosphere and all that. Those bits all make a lot of sense, but they're very convoluted. It's a lot of trouble, and
when
as I said, it crashes a lot.
Yeah, and
so I'm like, I'd almost say a 3 because the science is right. I want to take points away because it's stupid and it would cause it to crash a lot. But it does. It crashes a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, it does crash a lot. I mean, and the other thing is, in its 3 appearances on screen, it crashed every time. I mean, that's 100% hit rate.
I think we kind of have to give it, it's got to kind of match with XL5. It's Jerry Anderson again, who knows his science and shit. It's just a sense of, wow, he's yes, this is very cool. And it's completely impractical. And this is why.
The only thing which really will count against it is
apart from its machine
gun and complete lack of stability in flight for more than one mission, is how does it actually land?
Well, we have no on-screen evidence of it.
Yeah, they never managed that.
See, the reason
in the comics, it returns to either Glenfield or alternate runways, kind of like how the shuttle was supposed to, where you have off long runways, basically. I think they say at one point the runway is meant to be like 6 miles long.
But the point I was trying to make is that when it goes off into space and it leaves its wings behind, essentially it's leaving all of its engine assembly behind.
No, it does have engines on the schlongy part.
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't have reverse engines. It doesn't have any manoeuvrability. And so...
it doesn't have retro thrusters like... finish your point and then I'll...
Well, I was going to say, it doesn't have anything to slow it down. It doesn't have any retro thrusters. It doesn't have any landing ability.
It does have 2 retro thrusters in the front of the MEV, which
right on the end of the nose.
Right on the end of the nose. Yes, I'm not saying these make sense. I'm just saying it has them. But
so that's like someone sitting on the front of the car and going.
Yes, like a little asthmatic ant is blowing off the front of a thing. All I can assume, and we know what we say about assumptions, but all I can assume is they do some orbital mechanics and let the planet slow them down when they return to allow them re-entry. They allow the orbit to decay to the point where it can enter the atmosphere and then the lifting bodies can meet it and it can land. Not that the lifting bodies do fuck all, because as we've already seen, even if you've only got one, you apparently can't steer with them.
So that's got to count against it.
It's got to count against it to an extent, but my point, I still think at a 3, it's technically they have acknowledged all of the faults with it, in so much as it crashes a lot. And I keep coming back to this point, but it's one saving grace here with the science is that is completely impractical and will cause you to crash. Yes, it did.
What? Yeah. Actually, in which case I want to go back and give the Eagle Transporter a 5 for science, because that fucking thing crashed all the time as well.
I think we give Eagle Transporter a 5. No, we gave it a 4 for science.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. I'll give it a 3, unless you have any strong objections, Pete.
No, we'll go with a 3.
Okay. Now to the cool factor.
Oh, now the cool factor.
Now, before we go any further, can we just acknowledge the thing that we were talking about off air, which is that cool can go down to 0?
Yes, cool can now go down to 0. We have decided.
Okay.
I can't give it 0 because Muggins here brought it. Yes. I can give it a minimum of 1. But you two can both give it a 0.
Yes.
Should you inevitably deem it fit.
Yes.
So for me, for cool factor, I will give it 3 because it is the alpha and the omega of launch sequences. It's stupid. It's a retarded system. But you know what? It's a beautiful model. I love the music, and it does crash so spectacularly every time. So I will give it 3.
It's the most expensive.
It's a beautiful swan dive. 3 points.
It's the Tom Daly of landings.
It is the Tom Daly of landings. Although at one point it missed the ocean entirely.
Yes,
mentioned that a few times. But yes, I'll give it 3.
Pete,
it's ugly. It crashes a lot. It takes ages to take off.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it a 1.
Okay. Yeah. I'm in two minds because I have a thing for the Derek Meddings aesthetic, that sort of 60s bright futurism kind of thing. Yeah, we stick wings on a boxy rocket and off it goes. And on that side, it is cool. However, when those wings come off, it does just look like a fucking some kind of Blue Peter, let's make a spaceship out of a tube of toothpaste.
About a blue metallic dildo.
A blue metallic dildo, indeed. And I can't help but think it's not something I'd even feel that was cool to get on. It just does nothing for me once those wings come off. So on that basis, I'm going to give it a 2.
I've just had a thought though. You mentioned Derek Meddings, and all this. When it does come into land for the second time and it's lost its rear undercarriage, why doesn't the Thunderbirds trot out those funky little radio-controlled elevator cars from the Fireflash episode? I mean, it seems like they're almost custom-made for that.
Because reasons.
I was
Shut up, that's why.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So there you go. So that's 0x, and 0x drawn with Fireball XL5 at 36.
Oh dear, we've done it again.
Oh well, don't worry. It hasn't made it to the top 10, so we don't have to panic.
Well, let's face it. It had. I don't think anything this week's got much chance of that. But
no,
powder dry.
Well, you never know. It may just turn out the Thunderbirds 2086, they're all like 3,000 miles long, and
sadly not.
They have a massive amount of firepower.
I would laugh if that were the case.
Oh, me too. Okay then, well that's 0x out of the way, and let's wrap up this week's episode with your entry, Pete. And so What do you have for us, sir?
Oh, yes. Thunderbirds 2086. Woo-hoo.
Or to give it its proper name, Scientific Rescue Team Techno Voyager.
Voyager, yes. Voyager apparently being Japanese for Thunderbird. Who knew? It is the Japanese version of Thunderbirds, apparently. And 24 episodes were made, but only 18 were shown. Does make one wonder what went down in the unbroadcast stories. Maybe it was porn, I don't know. Never got that far.
Well, it is Japanese.
Yes. It's not recognised as canon Supermarionation. Funny that, not just because there's no strings involved, but also there's no involvement from either of the Andersons. But it was distributed in the UK by ITC, the parent company behind Thunderbird, so therefore it's almost kosher.
Right. Keep going.
I will. I'll keep digging. Actually, I stopped digging now because I did absolutely love this show as a kid. Fantastic, I thought it was back in the day. And I thought, coming back to it would be a terrible, horrible thing to do, and it will turn out to be a pile of rubbish. But I actually rather enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised. It's much faster paced than the original, which isn't saying much because, to be honest, I always find the original Thunderbirds very slow.
Yes.
It's got a very similar anime style to Battle of the Planets. And in actual fact, Amory walked in when I was watching the episode and thought I was watching Battle of the Planets. So, yeah.
And did you say, put your trousers on, Pete?
Yeah. Not Princess.
Yeah. Hold on. Are you paused on Princess again, or is that whoever... no, stop it.
It does suffer as Battle of the Planets does, from some very cheesy dialogue. But it does have some bonus points, quoting both 2001 and Alien at one point as well.
Oh no! You can't pull that stuff and expect it to count for much here.
It's not going to count anything for the score, but I thought it was kind of cool. Anyway.
Yeah.
It has some excellent music with some cheeky quotes from the Supermarionation original.
Mm-hmm.
And the setup is very similar to the original as well. Here we have a rescue team sent out to help people in distress, and they have a whole series of vehicles to enable them to do that. Unlike the original Thunderbirds, there are, and here I open my Thunderbirds 28.6 annual, a grand total of 17 Thunderbirds.
Oh my God.
Jeff Tracy's been busy.
Yes. Yes. Which range from the Sublime, Thunderbird 1's pretty cool.
Yeah.
To the Fugly, Thunderbird 2, I'll greatly, I'll grant you, does
looks a lot like Zero X without the wings.
Thunderbird 4, on the other hand, is a damn fine-looking submarine. Thunderbird 6 is a far better space station, and they managed Thunderbird 5 in the original.
Yeah, Thunderbird 5's a tunnelling vehicle, isn't it?
The tunnelling vehicle is Thunderbird 5, yeah. Thunderbird 10 is quite a zippy-looking spaceship. Thunderbird 11 is a police car for no adequately explained reason. High-speed ground vehicle.
Nice.
Yes. It's not the worst of them.
No?
No. Thunderbird 13 is a flying mini-sub.
Of course it is.
A flying mini-sub.
Yes, of course. Why wouldn't it be?
Of course. Don't you know anything about science?
Thunderbird 16 is the mole.
Thunderbird 16
is the mole. Remember the mole from the original series?
Yeah.
That's also Thunderbird 5 as well. I don't quite know why they've got two moles, but they do, apparently.
Yeah.
Thunderbird 15,
yeah,
love this, is a mobile computer. Wow, high-tech.
Ooh, that's all you need.
Yeah, it could be remotely controlled or manned. Equipped with computer terminals and radio link-up with International Rescue Organization in capital letters.
Nice.
Yes. This was before the internet, remember, guys?
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Thunderbird 17 is very phallic. It's a long-range space probe. But I don't want that anywhere near me.
It's fucking enormous.
But point of order, sir.
Yep.
I believe you're only bringing 1, 2, and 3 to this, are you?
I am, just to make life simple, because otherwise things would get kind of crazy.
And the reason being that they seem to Voltron together
They do combine. It's rather exciting, yes. The Thunderbird 1, which is a very cool space shuttle, slightly more futuristic space shuttle design, combines with Thunderbird 2, which, as we've already established, is inferior to the original Thunderbird 2, but performs quite the same function. It's a carrier, and it has various pods it attaches for different missions. And that combines with Thunderbird 3, which is bizarrely a combination of a ground vehicle and a spaceship. Quite why it needs to be the two, I don't know. And it kind of splits in half to form kind of like nacelles on the combined one.
Yeah.
It's strange, but it kind of works.
No.
Anyway. Shall we try and rate this strange beastie?
Yeah. I tell you what, you would actually stand a good chance of getting Thunderbird 17 on the actual scoreboard, given its colossal size. I left
200 meters.
It's not 200 meters, mate.
Is according to my manual.
Okay, because well, then in which case I've got news for you. Your other ships are going to be really tiny.
We're looking at pictures of it here.
Yeah, yeah. I sent one in the Skype chat. If you have a look at the picture,
I've just sent you a link with all of them.
Yeah, if you have a look at Thunderbird 1 and 2 compared to Thunderbird 17. I think you might find that Thunderbirds 1 and 2 are really tiny, if your thing's correct.
Well, I've got length of Thunderbird 1, 62 metres. Thunderbird 2 is the longest at 83 metres. So
they are tiny, okay, fair enough.
Yep.
Okay.
And as I say, Thunderbird 17 ain't that big, actually, according to the annual, anyway.
Well, according to the picture I'm looking at, it's about a mile long.
Yeah, looking at the picture here, it looks like Thunderbird 1 and 2 will fit inside it.
Yes. Yeah, in little bays around the neck. So,
But that being said, these are fan drawings, so we do have to take them with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Yes, what are we going to look at as authoritative? Fan drawings or IC Entertainment's official Thunderbirds 2086 annual 1983?
Well, to be fair, the only thing that tops that is the DVD case for the X-Bomber.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I think there you go. That's that. And so I think we have to just go for it.
So working on the fact that the three combine and make a slightly longer length than the longest individual one, which is Thunderbird 2, I'm going for about 86 metres, but it doesn't matter because it comes out as one anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a one for size.
Yeah.
Okay,
speed. Apparently it manages Mach 7 at least. So what's Mach 7, Captain Science?
Well, Mach 7 would put you somewhere around the... we're talking sublight, are we?
Mm-hmm.
It will take you years.
Yep.
You are 1.
1, okay. Fast and light? Nope.
Nope.
Yeah, nice.
Maneuverability, on the other hand, they zip about all over the place in order to perform their rescue tasks. So I'm asking for at least a 4 for that one.
I think that's fair. I think it's fair enough.
Might have been, if it was just 1, you might have been able to get to 4. But you got to take all 3 of them. So I'm thinking you're more 3.
I don't know, because I mean, some of the maneuverability when it's all locked together, it's doing that sort of Macross kind of spinny, rotatey, flippy bajillion stuff. I recall Thunderbird 2 being quite ungainly, but no, it is. But when it's
combined all together,
it's just the engines.
But by your powers combined, I am Captain Planet.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, then, in that case, sir, then have your 4, sir.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't really want to give these any points, but I've got to stand up for that.
Okay, firepower.
Yep.
They have cutting lasers.
Well, that's a 1.
That's a 1.
Yeah. There you go.
Lovely. We have defense, active, Zippo.
Yep.
Passive, on the other hand, is interesting because they can withstand the heat of the sun.
Oh, now, hold on. We had something like this with
Icarus,
didn't we?
Got 2 on that basis, so I think passive will be a 2.
Okay. Well, I think...
What did Thunderbird 3 get? Because that also could withstand the power of the sun.
That got a 1.
But that was back in the day, wasn't
that's
it?
Before we really had much in the way of comparison. Okay. I think Thunderbird 3's been short-shrifted, I think, with what we're coming to conclusion.
Yeah. Well, and again, to be fair, a lot of the point about the the Icarus was just the size of the armour on the front. But I'm happy to give it 2 if you want.
Yeah, it's fine.
Thank you kindly. That brings us on to special.
Very.
That seems to be a recurring theme here. It does seem to be able to split into smaller bits.
Exactly.
It goes to pieces when it comes up.
It has 1 point, and also it has grabby arms of grabbiness, which I seem to remember afforded Thunderbird 3 another point. So I'm asking you for 2.
I'm getting that same sinking feeling I had when we were scoring Button Moon.
Don't worry, we're not doing that well so far.
No.
And we're not going to do much better on crew either, in terms of numbers anyway, because at most with the combined crew, it only totals 4, so that's 1.
That's 1.
But on the upside, we are dealing with highly trained professionals here, folks, that always get the job done. There's no dead weights, unless you count the kid who's never taken on missions, thankfully. So therefore, I'm asking for a 5.
Oh, yes.
The fact they have a fucking kid sidekick and they don't take him on the missions earns you that 5.
Exactly. No dopey robots either. This is pure, complete, total professionalism.
Why do we have to give him a 5?
Why?
Okay.
Because I've hurt you, Metcalf, and I wish to go on hurting you.
This is just an abomination. Go on, carry on.
But you're not scoring that highly, don't worry.
Yeah.
Realization.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Battle of the Planets style animation.
Yes.
Some of the Thunderbirds look cool, some of them don't. But when you've got, well, in this case, 3 to choose from, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Can I ask for a 3?
Yeah.
After you, Mr. Metcalf.
Yeah, because I mean, Battle of the Planets was my go-to for the exterior. I think the only thing I don't like is I don't like the fact they're all primary colours stuck together. It's just like, oh, there's black and white and yellow and blue and there's a bit of green in there, and it's just fucking ugly looking ships.
It doesn't help that I'm watching it on very Blur-O-Vision YouTube. Which...
Oh, nice. That must just look like one of your kids has just thrown up after eating an entire family bag of fruit pastels.
That or a packet of crayons, yeah. So we go for a 3 then, are we?
Yeah, 3.
Ooh, excellent. Interior, we don't see an awful lot of the interior of the ships, to be honest.
Just cockpits.
What we do see is fine, but I go for a 2 for that one.
I seem to recall they have... Is it Thunderbird 1? He's got like a rocket chair which gets him into it, and 2 use sleds to...
Yeah, they all have these groovy sleds. None of this sitting on a lounge and being taken up on a sofa.
Yeah, but didn't one sit in the chair and the chair kind of rocketed him into the cockpit? They all had the sleds to get there, didn't they?
That's right, yeah.
And then I remember the guys in 2 would fall down from the... Because one of them had to surf. The one who was in Polish. Yeah. He had to surf.
Because he was the cool one.
He was a cool guy. And then the one from Thunderbird 1, he'd land next to his chair, sit in the chair, and the chair would moving. And then the one in Thunderbird 3 would roll his eyes while he walked through the door to get into 3, because kids today.
Exactly. So I think 2 is probably the most we can ask for.
Yeah.
Science! This is interesting, because Thunderbird 1 follows NASA-type specs. No dodgy anti-gravity stuff. They float around their space stations. On the downside, the combining isn't very likely mechanically, particularly not Thunderbird 3, quite how that works. And
the camper van.
Yes, and the episode where they do repairs in the orbit of the sun stretches things somewhat. I think the most we can ask for is a 3 on that one.
I mean, I was going to say 2, because I tell you what, something as big as that the space shuttle and designed like the space shuttle shouldn't be flying like a fighter jet while carrying half a ton of extra gear underneath its wings.
Oh, I don't think the shuttle. What the Thunderbird 1 section is doing the flying. I think 2's the booster, isn't it? That's where all the engine power is coming from.
Yeah, but that's a booster. But you're talking the wings, and the control maneuverability is from Thunderbird 1 on top, and that's so you got these stubby little wings with basically it's like basically putting a paper plane, which is highly maneuverable, and then hanging a cow off the bottom of it.
Yeah, I can see that. It actually, looking at that picture, and I know it's fan art, but I'm thinking it's fairly representative. It does seem to be hanging off the back a lot. Like, it doesn't really want to be there.
Yeah,
it's like
pretty much like everyone watching it. I mean, it's just that's not a good look, and that doesn't say to me this is a highly maneuverable spaceship that's going to be doing manga style flippy. It looks like something that's just going to go straight into a fence. I mean, no, it just like I say, it looks like someone's taken a camper van and a box of Smarties and stuck a shuttle on it.
Well, to be fair, that's more coolness than the science.
I mean, in terms of science, they don't generally do anything that would be, scientifically impossible. They're very careful about things like, gravity in space. And
I mean, I do recall the one with whoever pilots Thunderbird 1, his friend getting trapped on the colony, and they treat it relatively well. And again, it's almost Galactica-esque in how their uniforms become their spacesuits as well. How the Viper pilots, they attach the helmets with the seals. They do the oxygen thing. I mean, I'd be happy to give them 3, loath as I am to admit it, but for the science anyway.
I hate you.
I know you did.
Right, 3 it is.
Okay, this is where you can get your revenge.
0. Move on.
No, you've got to let him go first. He has to go first.
Yeah, and because I absolutely enjoyed this on a rewatch, I'm giving it my full 4.
So my turn, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the part in the film where I pull off the mask and go, "Ha! It was me all along," because I actually really like this.
Hey.
I used to watch it alongside Ulysses 31, and while it's not a patch on proper Thunderbirds, there's a heavy amount of nostalgia goggles here. I love the music, and yeah, I remember distinctly once going to my uncle's house, and he said, "Do you want to watch Thunderbirds?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he puts on the Jerry Anderson one. I was like, that's not Thunderbirds. And that's when I was introduced to it, because this was first. So I'm afraid Pete gets my 3.
You get nothing from me, and you'll like it. Big, fat.
Get nothing.
Yeah. You get nothing. I said good day, sir. I said good day. Seriously, fuck these ships. Seriously. The designs are awful.
One of the designs is awful.
Oh, come off it. Thunderbird 2, how can you go from Derek
Thunderbird 2 is dire. I don't disagree with you there.
2 and 3. 2 and 3 are pants. I don't mind the shuttle. And 4 not only is a better submarine than the original Thunderbird 4, but the pilot's better than Gordon.
Say what you like. You're not convincing me of nothing. I mean,
no, I didn't plan to convince you. I'm just saying.
I mean, Thunderbird 3 looks like basically someone took a bus and then stuck it on a hovercraft, cross-channel hovercraft from 1980, and then painted it this insipid orangey yellow guff. It adds nothing to the design. The fact that it even splits apart is fucking ridiculous. I mean, the fact that Thunderbird 2 fits inside that gap is even more stupid, and the fact that Thunderbird 2 looks like one of those novelty pens with different coloured nibs that you can get out by turning the handle, and then you stick Thunderbird 1 on the back of it, and it's just like, what is that? It's just bobbins.
Pete, you should have not brought it as Thunderbirds 28-6. You should have brought it as Scientific Rescue Team Techno Voyager.
It's just
because clearly that makes more sense.
It's absolutely
no. I'm just saying. It
would have gone under the radar.
I suspect it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been quite as despised.
I'm quite happy because this is scored better than Mr. Spoon's ship.
It shouldn't have done.
Not only that, it's scored the same as Thunderbird 3.
It still gets nothing from me. So what's that? 6 or 7 for 7 for the
making
cool
32,
making it 33.
Uh-huh.
32.
32, as I said.
Okay. Well, there you go.
As I say, up there with Thunderbird 3.
Just...
I task you.
No. Just all I can. The only solace I can take is it's only 1 point above the Button Moon ship, and frankly, that's doing Button Moon a disservice.
We really should have had a chat with Elton about how much he could have given it for cool.
If he had given it 1 more point for cool, that would have sorted it. I mean, just seriously, Thunderbirds. I mean, you can't take iconic designs and turn them into a blue pencil case, a fucking orange camper van, a yellow banana, and a fucking black and white and red shuttle, which looks really like someone started drawing a car and then got bored halfway.
That's only the beginning of things, though, isn't it? Once you start accounting for some of the other weird and wonderful... I mean, the police car is a particularly wonderful one.
Oh, God. I mean, the stupid bloody X-Wing version thing. The X-Wing...
Thunderbird 10.
Yeah, Thunderbird 10. What is that all about?
The big missile thing at the front, it reminds me of...
the Shadows.
Yeah.
Shadow Interceptors. I mean, just... No, that's just wrong on every level. I'm angry now. I'm cross man.
He'll be Henry Angry Dome.
If anybody wants me. Wow.
Good. My work here is done.
I shall have my revenge. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day.
I will have my revenge.
Rewengi. Anyway, well, don't worry. I'm sure at some point, very soon, you'll have cause to hate me, and I will laugh. Anyway, there you go. Well, there you go. Thanks for that, Pete. So
you're welcome.
Thunderbirds 2086, Thunderbirds 1, 2, and 3 all combined into Super Thunderbird 1 is, sitting there with 32, like a turd on a doorstep. So, that's the end of this week's episode, I guess. So, how has the scores changed? Well, not a hell of a lot, actually. They've not changed.
We haven't troubled the top 10.
The top 10 is the same as it was earlier.
Same as it ever was.
Same as it ever was.
Yeah, exactly. Except right down at the bottom, the Thunderbirds now occupy the two of the bottom four.
Yeah.
In fact, Jerry Anderson occupies quite a large proportion.
Scoring highly, is it?
No, he occupies actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, in fact, all of the bottom 10 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Jerry Anderson ships in it.
I think we need to stop doing Jerry Anderson stuff.
I think so.
We were worried at one point of being over-representative of Star Trek and Star Wars, weren't we?
Yeah. Well, frankly, we're not. Frankly, we're not actually being over-representative because they're all out the window, to be honest.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, so there you go. So that's it for this week. Thank you very much for listening. But before we go, obviously we have to tell you what we're doing for the next episode.
We've got to get Lee back to his happy place.
It's going to take a while. I'm going to...
How can I fuck up Lee's day next? Okay, so we thought we'd do a Star Trek special. So we'll have 4 ships, which will be facing off against one another. I shall be taking the rather exciting Romulan Warbird, commanded by Tomahawk. My good lady wife, her indoors, Anne-Marie, will be taking one of Lee's favourite ships, which is the Klingon Bird of Prey.
Which should have been done in the comedy episode.
Dildo with wings, it's a dildo with wings. Yeah, go on.
I will be doing the USS Excelsior with Captain Sulu. Oh my.
Oh my.
And I will be bringing the USS Reliant with Khan at the helm.
Yes. We thought it was best for Lee to be able to vent. somehow.
Right. Well, thank you very much for listening. Take care. Do join us on a Facebook group, which is space.jury, which is facebook.com/group/space.jury, rather. Or talk to us on Twitter, which is @space.jury. And as it stands currently, there's all three of us could be on that Twitter feed at any one time.
Yeah. Guess who it is?
Guess who it is by how they write.
Guess who it is from a post and other such random shenanigans.
And if you suddenly notice that Space.Jury likes its own post, don't be surprised, because sometimes that happens.
Oh, that's interesting. Like, oh wait, that was me.
Oh shit, that was us. Yeah. Oh well, pulling back the curtain. Ambitious but rubbish.
Yes. There'll be many more spaceships of the days, technical manual reviews, and coming soon, What the Trek?
Yes. What the Trek will move from Facebook group to Twitter, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon. Tatty bye.
Cheer bye.
Ta-ra.
Space Doc Jury is a production by 3 Angry Beards for GeekPlanetOnline.com.
I need the loo.